Welcome back to Senior Green Thumbs. If you've ever stood in a garden center feeling overwhelmed by all the plant choices, this video is for you. Today I'm sharing 15 perennials that are so easy to grow, they practically take care of themselves. These are the plants I recommend to every beginner because they're forgiving, they come back year after year, and they'll make your garden look amazing without all the fuss. So whether you're starting your very first garden, or you want beautiful blooms without being a slave to your plants, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which perennials to choose for guaranteed success. Let's dive in. Plant 1 daylilies, modern hybrids. First up is the daylilies are called daylilies because each individual flower only lasts one day, but don't worry. Each plant produces dozens and dozens of buds so you get weeks of continuous blooms. The key here is choosing modern hybrid varieties, not the old orange ditch lily that can take over your garden. Modern hybrids are well behaved and come in incredible colors: yellow, red, pink, purple, burgundy, and even near white. They tolerate almost any growing condition: sun, part shade, wet soil, dry soil. They're incredibly adaptable, and they're virtually pest-free. Choose named varieties from reputable nurseries, and you'll have plants that stay where you put them and bloom reliably every year. Plant 2 lamb's ear. Lamb's ear is grown for its incredibly soft, silvery foliage that literally feels like a lamb's ear when you touch it. Kids absolutely love this plant for that reason. It's extremely drought tolerant and deer resistant, and it works beautifully as ground cover or edging. The silvery color provides a nice contrast to green foliage and bright flowers. Now, regular lamb's ear can spread quite aggressively, so I recommend choosing varieties like silver carpets that don't flower and spread less aggressively. This way you get all the beauty without the plant taking over your garden. It's perfect for hot, sunny spots where other plants struggle. Plant 3's blanket flower produce these incredibly cheerful, bright blooms in shades of red, yellow, and orange from summer through fall. They look like they're practically glowing in the garden. These are perfect for beginners because they're incredibly drought tolerant. They actually prefer poor, sandy soil and hate being overwatered. They're also excellent for cutting if you want to bring some of that bright color indoors. They attract butterflies and are deer resistant, which makes them even more valuable in the garden. The key to keeping them blooming all season is regular deadheading. Just snap off the spent flowers and new buds will keep coming. Plant 4, Shasta Daisy. Shasta daisies are the classic white daisy with the bright yellow center. They're like sunshine in flower form. They bloom from early summer through fall with regular deadheading. They're drought tolerant, once established, and excellent for cutting. There's something so cheerful and optimistic about a bouquet of Shasta daisies on your kitchen table. They work beautifully in cottage gardens or naturalized areas, and they're tough enough to handle less than perfect conditions. Here's a great tip: if you pinch the plants back by about half in late spring, you'll get bushier plants with more flowers. It delays the bloom time by a few weeks, but you'll get way more flowers overall. Plant 5 Black-eyed Susan. Now, the black-eyed Susan, and this cheerful yellow flower, is practically bulletproof. Once you plant it, it'll bloom from summer all the way through fall, giving you months of bright, sunny color. Here's why beginners love it. It's drought tolerant once established, so if you forget to water it occasionally, no problem. It thrives in full sun and actually prefers average soil. You don't need to fuss with special fertilizers or amendments. The best part, it spreads naturally to fill in gaps, so you'll get more plants for free. And butterflies absolutely love these flowers, so you'll have a garden full of activity. Pro tip: deadhead the spent flowers to keep more blooms coming, but leave some seed heads at the end of the season for the birds to enjoy. Plant 6 Purple Coneflower. Purple coneflower, also called echinacea, is another superstar for beginners. These gorgeous purple daisy-like flowers bloom for months, and once they're done blooming, they create interesting architectural seed heads that look beautiful all winter long. What makes them perfect for new gardeners? They're incredibly drought tolerant. They actually prefer poor soil, so you can't really kill them with kindness, and they attract both butterflies and birds to your garden. They come in the classic purple, but now you can find them in white, yellow, pink, and even orange varieties. Here's a secret: these plants actually get floppy if you give them too much fertilizer or rich soil. They like to struggle a little bit, which makes them perfect for low-maintenance gardening. Plant 7 Sedums. Sedums are the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it perennial. These succulent plants store water in their thick leaves, which means they can go weeks without water once established. The variety called Autumn Joys is particularly spectacular. It starts the season with pale green flower buds, turns pink in late summer, then deep burgundy in fall, and the dried flower heads look beautiful all winter. Here's what makes them perfect for beginners. They hate being babied. Don't water them too much, don't give them rich soil, don't fertilize them. Just plant them in well-draining soil and ignore them, and they'll reward you with gorgeous flowers and foliage. Plus, butterflies absolutely swarm these flowers in late summer and fall. Plant 8 coral bells. Coral bells, or heuchera, are grown mainly for their stunning foliage that comes in an incredible range of colors: lime green, deep burgundy, silver, peach, and even near black varieties. They produce delicate, airy flower spikes in spring and early summer, but honestly, the foliage is the real star. These plants look good from spring through fall, and in mild climates, they're even evergreen. They're perfect for part shade-to-shade areas where many other perennials struggle, and they work beautifully in containers if you want to dress up a patio or deck. The key to success with coral bells is planting them at the right depth. The crown should be right at soil level, not buried deep and not sitting up high. Plant 9. Catmint. Catmint creates these gorgeous clouds of purple-blue flowers from late spring all the way through fall, and it's one of the most drought-tolerant perennials you can grow. Don't confuse this with catnip. Catmint usually doesn't drive cats crazy, but it does attract bees and butterflies like crazy. It's also deer-resistant. It forms neat, rounded clumps that work perfectly as edging plants or in mass plantings. The silvery green foliage looks good even when it's not blooming. Here's a great tip: if you cut it back by about half in midsummer, you'll get a fresh flush of new growth and flowers that'll carry you through fall. Plant 10. Hosta. Hostas are the undisputed kings of shade gardening. If you have a shady spot where nothing else seems to grow, hostas are your answer. They come in an incredible variety of sizes, from tiny miniatures, perfect for containers, to giants, with leaves the size of dinner plates. The foliage comes in shades of green, blue, yellow, and beautiful variegated patterns. Many varieties also produce fragrant white or lavender flowers in summer, which is a nice bonus. But really, you're growing these for the spectacular foliage that looks good from spring through fall. Once established, they're virtually maintenance-free. Just give them consistent moisture, and they'll be happy for decades. If you have problems with slugs, look for varieties with thick, waxy leaves. They're much more resistant to slug damage. Plant 11. Russian sage. Russian sage creates this beautiful, airy texture in the garden with its silvery foliage and tall spikes of purple flowers. It blooms from midsummer through fall, and even after the flowers fade, those silvery stems look attractive all winter long. This plant is incredibly drought-tolerant once established. We're talking desert-level drought tolerance. It's also deer-resistant and virtually pest-free. It works beautifully as a backdrop for other perennials, or you can use it as a specimen plant. The silvery color is particularly stunning when backlit by morning or evening sun. The key with Russian sage is to cut it back hard in early spring, down to about 6 inches from the ground. It blooms on new wood, so this hard pruning actually encourages more flowers. Plant 12. Astilbe. Astilbe produce these gorgeous feathery flower plumes that look almost like colorful clouds floating above the foliage. They come in white, cream, pink, red, and deep burgundy. These are perfect for shade to part shade areas, and they prefer consistent moisture, so they're great for those spots in your garden that stay a bit damp. The ferny foliage looks good all season long, even after the flowers fade. And if you leave the dried flower heads on the plants, they add nice winter interest to your garden. They're completely low maintenance once established. Just mulch around them to keep the soil cool and moist, and they'll come back bigger and better every year. Plant 13. Salvia. Perennial salvias produce these beautiful upright flower spikes in shades of purple, blue, pink, and red. They bloom from late spring through fall, and they're magnets for hummingbirds and butterflies. They're extremely drought-tolerant once established, and they're deer-resistant, which is always a bonus. The variety May Night, with its deep purple flowers, is particularly popular. These plants are incredibly low maintenance. You don't need to deadhead them, Mize. They're self-cleaning, and they just keep blooming all season long. One important tip: don't cut these back in fall like you might with other perennials. Wait until spring to see which stems survived winter, then cut back only the dead portions. Plant 14. Lungwort. Lungwort is perfect for those early spring moments when you're desperate for some color in the garden. It produces clusters of blue, pink, or white flowers in early spring, often before most other perennials have even emerged. The spotted or silvery foliage looks attractive all season long, making this a great plant for shade gardens. It's very low maintenance once established and virtually pest-free. It's perfect for planting under deciduous trees because it gets the spring sun it needs for flowering, but then enjoys summer shade once the tree leaves emerge. The flowers often start one color and change to another as they age, which creates this beautiful multicolored effect in the garden. Plant 15. Sea Balm. Select Varii. Our final plant is bee balm, which produces these absolutely stunning architectural flowers that look almost like fireworks exploding in the garden. Hummingbirds and butterflies go crazy for these flowers. Now, traditional bee balm can spread quite aggressively, so I recommend choosing compact varieties like Pardon My Purple or Pardon My Pink that stay in nice controlled clumps. These varieties give you all the spectacular flowers and wildlife attraction without the worry about the plant taking over your garden. They prefer morning sun with some afternoon shade and good air circulation to prevent powdery mildew. Now let's talk about some general care tips that apply to all these plants. When it comes to planting, spring and fall are the best times. Dig your holes twice as wide as the root ball, but no deeper. You want the top of the root ball to be level with the soil surface. Water thoroughly after planting and apply a 2-3 inch layer of mulch around the plants to conserve moisture and suppress weeds. For ongoing care, most of these perennials prefer deep, infrequent watering rather than frequent shallow watering. This encourages deep root growth, which makes the plants more drought tolerant. As for fertilizing, most perennials don't need much. A light application of balanced slow-release fertilizer in spring is usually plenty. Often adding some compost around the plants is even better than chemical fertilizer. For winter care, you can leave most of these plants standing through winter for visual interest and to provide habitat for beneficial insects. Clean up any diseased foliage, but healthy stems can stay until spring. Let me share some key tips that'll help ensure your success with these plants. First, start small. Don't try to plant your entire garden in one season. Choose 3-4 of these plants to start with. See how they perform in your specific conditions, then expand from there. Second, pay attention to your plant tags. They have important information about mature size, spacing, and care. Following these guidelines will save you problems down the road. Third, group plants with similar water and light requirements together. This makes care much easier and helps ensure all your plants thrive. Don't overwater. This is the #1 killer of perennials. Most of these plants prefer to dry out a bit between waterings, and don't over-fertilize. Many perennials actually prefer lean soil and can get floppy or fail to bloom if given too much rich fertilizer. Finally, keep a simple garden. Note what you planted, when you planted it, and how it performed. This information becomes invaluable as you expand your garden. And there you have it, mice 15 fantastic perennials that are perfect for beginning gardeners. These plants will give you years of beauty with minimal effort, and they're forgiving enough that you can learn as you go. Remember, gardening should be enjoyable, not stressful. Start with these reliable performers, and as your confidence grows, you can experiment with more challenging plants. The most important thing is to get started. Every expert gardener was once a beginner, and we all learn by doing. Which of these perennials are you most excited to try? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing about your gardening adventures. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more practical gardening advice designed especially for us senior gardeners. Until next time, keep those green thumbs growing, and remember, the best time to plant a perennial was last year, but the second best time is right now. Happy gardening!